As a creative marketer, one question we are constantly asking ourselves is why did it work or why did it not work? I've been in this industry for over 10 years now, and I still find myself asking these questions on a regular basis, along with many others. Fast forward to present day, and it is incredible to have tools out there like Motion to use on an everyday basis, helping us close the feedback loop when it comes to performance creative. Not only that, but going into 2025, they launched their 2025 report, going over all the trends that they were able to discover while auditing ads that received over $100 million in ad spend, while also having an open line of communication and interviewing all of these industry experts. Maybe one of these days, they will include me in a future trend report. Now, even though this is accessible to everyone and we are already going into Q2 of 2025, I'm sharing this video because as I go through the Motion 2025 report, I'm giving my personal experience as that hands-on performance marketer who is working with clients who are spending over $4 million a month on Meta alone. I share my personal insights as I go over the insights that are shared by many others. This was actually a bonus lesson in our 10-hour masterclass led by myself and Lamise Barnett, MBA, where we marry creative strategy and paid media, helping take your creative strategy to the next level. So if you're interested in learning more about that, check the link in the comments below. So without further ado, let's dive into Motion's 2025 Creative Trends Report. All right, it's time for Motion's 2025 Creative Trends Report. I am so excited to go over this with you guys. Not only are we going to get what Motion's input is on analyzing over $100 million in ad spend, surveying 500 plus insiders, and conducting over a dozen interviews with leading creative strategists, but I'm also going to be able to give you some advice as we go through this report based on things that I've personally experienced in 2024. By the way, you can gain access to this exact report by looking up motionapp.com. Okay, so what makes this report unique? Predictive reports are table stakes in marketing. It would be too easy in 2025 to talk to a few industry friends, consider what's worked in the past, and ask ChatGPT what it thinks the future will look like. And transparently, we did do that, but we also came up with a rigorous methodology to challenge our assumptions, interrogate our biases, and help us come up with a report that's more fact than feeling. Motion's Creative Trends 2025 is your unbiased blueprint for staying ahead of the biggest trends shaping advertising creative. This report isn't just about what's trending or new, it's about what works and will work in performance marketing based on a survey of over 500 experts and an analysis of over $100 million in ad spend. They also interviewed 12 D2C leaders and creative experts to uncover emerging insights, patterns, and challenges in the space. Who knows, maybe next year they'll interview me. Their methodology was combining qualitative and quantitative data with a detailed analysis of advertising trends. This report delivers a practical and grounded blueprint for D2C marketers. I think I got an email about this survey. I'm like 90% sure I did, and I just ignored it. Who responded to Motion's 2025 Trends Survey? So this has to do with monthly ad spend, their role, what type of business they do, and also the amount of employees that work at their business. What'll be super handy for you as a creative strategist and UGC creator is keeping this report as your go-to resource during your weekly strategy sprints. So you can leverage it to frame discussions, brief creatives, and also plan ahead. What's awesome is this is meant to be practical, actionable, and built for everyday use. So this report is your roadmap for making ads that convert in 2025. Authenticity renaissance. AI is more than a debate in marketing, it is a certainty. According to McKinsey, 65% of organizations now use generative AI in at least one business function, with marketing and sales leading the charges across departments. Their survey reflects this trend, with 86% of D2C advertisers planning to increase their use of AI for research and ideation in 2025, and 79% anticipate expanding AI roles in creative production. That's exactly why we created UGC Buddy, to support you as a UGC creator and creative strategist. Now, a hot topic in the UGC community is, what about AI UGC creators? And honestly, I'm really not concerned about it. I have been hearing about how there are AI editing platforms that are going to replace video editors for like 5+ years. And every time someone who's not in the creative department tries to use a platform like that and make the creative team use it, it ends up being the worst thing ever because it sucks so bad. So don't be afraid of AI UGC creators. It's not going to happen. And when it does happen, there's only going to be a fraction of brands that are even able to use this tool. because AI UGC creators come off super inauthentic, and I know the FTC is going to start coming down hard on brands that are using AI UGC creators and aren't using disclaimers like, oh, this is like an example of what a customer said because this is an AI creator. So there has been an 85% increase as far as advertisers that plan to use AI for research and creative ideation. This is your sign if you aren't already using UGC Buddy or some form of GPT, you need to be. And the reason why is because it's not going to replace our role. It's a tool to make us more efficient for our employers or for our clients, which is why I heavily recommend going to UGCbuddy.com and utilizing it for your UGC and creative strategy clients. And there has been an almost 80% increase of advertisers that plan to use AI for creative production. Again, I'm not scared about it. There are also other incredible AI tools that you can be using as a UGC creator. I actually made an Instagram post talking about the AI tools that I use as a UGC creator that you probably didn't know about, and I highly recommend you look into them because they make my workflow so much more efficient. I use Descript, which is a tool that offers many features, but my favorites are definitely the quick transcription service and the eye-catching captions. Key features include transcription, audio to text, filler word removal like ums and uhs, studio sound effect, which enhances overall audio quality, AI eye contact, which can literally adjust your gaze. It can create a green screen effect, which removes the background, translation for multiple languages, clip selection for potential viral moments. I also love Runway AI. This tool has plenty of features, but my absolute favorite is the background removal, aka creating that green screen effect. In just seconds, you can literally select the areas you want removed and get a clean cutout, perfect for creating a green screen video. Key features include text to video or image, background removal, smooth animation transitions, custom AI models, or audio tools like text to speech, voice models, and lip syncing. I also love Adobe Podcast. This platform is packed with features, but my go-to is the enhanced speech tool, which removes noise and echo from voice recordings effortlessly. It literally sounds like you have a professional podcast mic when you just filmed it with your iPhone. Key features include speech enhancement, microphone optimization, AI transcription, remote recording, Studio, a browser-based tool for recording, editing, and enhanced audio. And then, of course, UGC Buddy, created by UGC Pro, which also has been educated off of my experience in Shane's, which is literally 20 years of combined expertise in creative marketing, designed to support UGC creators at literally every stage. UGC Buddy offers tailored guidance, innovative tools, and actionable insights to help you thrive in the ever-evolving world of content creation. And then key features include it writes high-converting scripts, drafts cold outreach messages, conducts brand market analysis, generates scroll-stopping hooks, and teaches UGC and creative strategy. UGC Buddy has to do with the research and creative ideation part of the process, whereas Runway AI, Descript, and Adobe Podcast have more to do with the creative production part. This is so funny because it talks about exactly what I was referencing having to do with AI UGC creators. Like, yes, they exist, but they are so forgettable. There was a study that found that consumers perceived AI-generated ads as more annoying, boring, and confusing than traditional ads. And I so believe that because when you hear and see an AI UGC creator, you can so tell that they're so robotic, which is exactly why advertisers are most likely uncertain about AI, but are adopting in any way possible. 55% of marketers said they still aren't sold on the promise of AI, and the main focus is finding the gap between efficiency and quality. And this goes back to what I was saying about the FTC about to come down on brands that are using AI UGC creators. And outside of legal ramifications, only real people can tell real stories. And this quote is honestly so accurate. Sometimes a person is an expert just because they have lived and they're sharing their story. Trust and relatability come from the stories only real people can tell that no AI UGC creator can replicate. So what does that mean for brands in 2025? Brands are going to have to find a balance between using AI to streamline their processes while ensuring they are still staying authentic. AI might help with production, but it cannot replicate the emotional resonance that comes from consumers. And when it comes to the concepts that we are creating as those UGC creators and creative strategists, Motion recommended focusing on first-person content formats. So adopting formats like POV, aka point of view videos, or diary-style posts, where the voice of the creator, whether it's a founder, customer, or team member, feels front and center. These formats resonate because they mimic personal, relatable content that is native to social media, which makes so much sense because of platforms like TikTok, especially with the nuance of TikTok Shop and just Instagram always copying what TikTok does. And the overall habits of creators online, first-person content makes so much sense. It also helps humanize the brand when it's coming from the POV of someone, regardless if it's a customer, a UGC creator, a founder, whoever it might be. They also recommend creating raw testimonial campaigns. Instead of polished video shoots, collect simple self-filmed testimonials from real customers. Edit them lightly to maintain their authenticity and use them in paid ads, social posts, or landing pages to showcase honest, relatable feedback. This makes so much sense. I have been operating like this as a creative strategist for brands that I've been working with for years. I started doing this like really heavily when I was working with my client Beta Brand back in 2020, but even back in 2018 when I was working internally at Mute 6 as a video editor, we were so focused on testimonial style content, and I love to see that it's coming back and that the more polished UGC concepts are becoming less of a thing, just because the realer it is, the more relatable it is, the more authentic it is, and the more likely the viewer is going to connect to them, the brand, the product, and be intrigued enough to click the link, go to the landing page to learn more, with the end goal of obviously having them purchase that product. I leveraged this heavily at two different companies. One was a health and wellness brand, and one was a CPG product, specifically a mushroom coffee brand. For the health and wellness brand, we actually had an entire day dedicated to getting real customer testimonials. Because it was a weight loss product and because we had a Facebook group where people were showing their before and after images, we were able to reach out to these people, connect with them, learn more about their story, literally fly them out to the headquarters, which was in Las Vegas, and spend an entire weekend connecting with these people in real life and filming both UGC videos shot on iPhones and also HD video shot on DSLRs. That would be leveraged for advertisements on CTV and also on social platforms. These ads blew every other video out of the water on our ad account and are still top performers to this day, almost 5 years later. And then when I was working with the mushroom coffee brand in Q4, what I did was they also had a Facebook group page, and I had posted a survey asking for people to respond to the survey if they had experienced positive effects with the mushroom coffee. And even though I didn't get to see it all the way through fruition, I was able to collect the surveys, go through over 50 submissions, choose the top 15 to 20 customers who had the most incredible experiences with the product and also showed up authentically on camera, because when they submitted their survey, they also had to submit an image and a video of them talking about their experience with the product. And then with that roster of customers, you would then reach out to them, schedule their flights, their stay, compensate them financially or with product, and then spend all day or all weekend with them shooting content on both iPhone and DSLR. And another suggestion from Motion was to lean into your most unique selling point, which is the founder of the brand, which makes so much sense because this is a trend that I've seen work really well historically with literally any brand that I've ever suggested this to. Like when I think about the ads for the brand that I worked for in Q4, the top spenders, I'm gonna say 90% of them were founder ads. When you feature your founder in authentic behind the scenes content like origin stories, Q&As, or daily routines, they help connect to the audience. Because when you think about it, the founder literally created a product or service that was meant to solve a problem that they likely personally experienced or had a loved one that experienced it that they wanted to create a solution for that problem. It helps create a personal connection with your audience. So start with simple smartphone shot clips that feel relatable. The comedy comeback. I am so excited about this. Creatives have a serious problem. Here's what we found out about using humor in D2C ads. According to our analysis of 100 million ad spend by e-commerce brands, only 14% of social ads have some element of humor. But humor was found in 25% of ads that spent over $1 million plus dollars. In short, a quarter of the highest spending ads that we looked at across the biggest D2C advertisers are funny. For advertisers that really want to scale their ads, humor might just be what's missing. So whether you're a UGC creator or creative strategist, I highly recommend and also challenge you to keep humor top of mind. Probably one of the easiest ways to have a funny UGC concept concept is doing the self-talk style where it's like, say me in a purple shirt looking this way, and I film the script for like person one, and then I change the angle of the video and I put on a red shirt and I change my hair, maybe I put on a wig, and I'm reading person two script this angle, so then when I edit it, it looks like I'm talking to myself. So as far as trends that motion is seeing, 1, humor is making a comeback in even the stuffiest corners of marketing. 2, being funny is the MO of social media, which makes a lot of sense. Like, it's very native to platforms like TikTok and Instagram. And then 3, bigger D2C advertisers are starting to think beyond one-click conversions. The co-founder of Chubbies, Preston Rutherford, said, "Brand is the revenue you have left when everything is turned off, aka ads. I think any brand marketing needs to be direct response performance marketing. It's not one with the other. It's how do we combine them both to win?" And just for the sake of like simpler understanding, I'm asking UGC Buddy what that means in simpler terms. Brand is the revenue you have left when everything is turned off. This means your brand is essentially the value and loyalty that you've built with your customers. If all paid advertising or performance marketing efforts were turned off tomorrow, the revenue you'd still generate would be from repeat customers, word of mouth referrals, and organic traffic and awareness. It highlights the importance of building a strong brand that can sustain itself without constant external inputs like ads or promotions. 2, brand marketing needs to be direct response performance marketing. The co-founder of Chubbies emphasizes that the traditional separation between brand marketing, focused on creating awareness and building reputation, and performance marketing, focused on driving immediate conversions or measurable results, isn't as effective in today's landscape. Instead, what he suggests is a hybrid approach where brand marketing efforts can have measurable performance-driven outcomes. For example, running a brand awareness campaign that tracks not just reach, but also engagement, leads, and sales, and using storytelling or lifestyle branding and ads that still have clear CTAs. So it's still direct response driven, but it's also focused on brand awareness. And I love that he says it's not one versus the other, it's how we combine them to win. So the key takeaways is that modern marketing isn't about choosing between brand building or performance marketing. They are complementary of each other. Strong brand marketing supports long-term customer loyalty and high customer lifetime value, aka LTV. While direct response performance marketing drives short-term results, the best brands blend these approaches. So for example, a company like Nike runs emotional story-driven ads related to the just do it motto, while also using direct response ads for e-commerce promotions. This philosophy reflects the growing emphasis on data-driven storytelling and marketing, using measurable campaigns to build both revenue and a lasting brand. All right, how this impacts ad creative. Humor is one of the best ways for brands to cut through the noise in a crowded ad space, whether it's skit-style ads or clever takes on everyday problems. Funny ads that highlight product value grab attention. When humor ties back to your product, it sticks. In 2025, we'll see more advertisers leaning into funny ads that feel intentional, balancing wit with relevance to make ads feel less like a hard sell and more like content worth watching, which I love. It loops back to edutainment style, which is both education and entertainment. Here are a few suggestions as far as putting the trend into action. 1, test humor in low-risk campaigns. If you're not used to going for laughs, start small by adding humor to test campaigns. Use memes or lighthearted ad scripts and A/B test them against more traditional creative. 2, hire creators and comedians for ad development. Nobody has a pulse on what people find funny more than the chronically online. Partner with creators or comedians who know what your target audience already likes and trust them to deliver even if it feels uncomfortable. This is something that I've done in the past where I've literally reached out to creators who had more humor-driven content and were very in line with the target demographic of the brand or product that I was hiring them for. One brand that does humor super well is True Classics. Spend some time researching them and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And then the third suggestion is to blend humor with product relevance. Being funny doesn't mean being off-brand. Make sure to connect humor to your product or service. Turn customer pain points into funny situations that highlight your product as the solution. This balance ensures your ads are memorable and purposeful, not just entertaining for the sake of it. This also made me think of one of my previous clients, which is Overnight Oats. And what they'll do is they'll literally take a negative review, like a negative 1-star or 0-star review, and they will take the comment, screenshot it, and then add it over an image of their product. And it's so funny because they're literally showing a negative review and owning it in a way that's still humorous and also intriguing for you to want to check out the product. 2025 is the volume era. I have been seeing so many thought leaders in creative marketing talking about this, and as someone that has been working with brands that are spending anywhere from $2 million a month upwards to over $4 million a month, I could not agree more. Finding winning ads is a volume game, especially in 2025. But generating enough volume to ensure your accounts get spent is an absolute challenge. And I know this firsthand. Like for the brands that are spending between $2 million and $4+ million a month, we are delivering over 100 statics a week. So that's over 400 statics a month and over 100 videos a week, which is again another 400 plus videos a month. Meaning we're delivering over 800 individual ads to be tested on just Meta. So just Instagram and just Facebook. Briefing creative teams, creating new ads, testing and iterating are all time consuming and resource intensive. But in 2025, creative strategists are under immense pressure to do more of just that. 71% of D2C advertisers we surveyed say that they plan to increase their investment in Meta ads in 2025. And 69% say they plan to increase investment across all other platforms. AI is going to help advertisers win the volume game. As far as advertisers' plans to increase or decrease investment into Meta ads in 2025, the majority of them are planning to increase ad spend. To better understand trends in AI and creative, we spoke to Gil. Wait a second. This is my former Facebook rep. Okay, small world. I knew that he was a part of this, but I didn't know where, so I love to see it. So Gil is a creative strategist at Meta who works with the world's fastest growing D2C and tech brands. One of my clients that I was leading creative strategy for, he was my Meta rep for. According to Gil, the demand for ad volume is increasing. He said, some of the top D2C brands we work with are creating 50 to 70 new ads weekly on Meta platforms alone. I can confirm that because literally the client I was working for leading paid media creative strategy in Q4 of last year, we were putting out 200 plus ads every single week. So that's coming out to over 800 ads a month. So how are creative strategists going to meet the demand for all of this ad volume? Despite some industry pushback over AI generated ads, many advertisers are still experimenting with AI as a way to meet the growing demand of creative scale, which is true. Like there are some ways to do it that make the most sense when it comes to finding the balance between quality and efficiency, which we talked about earlier. So Barry Hott says, the game has changed, who is a growth consultant. He says, you can make an ad for a woman's supplement using AI tools from scripting to voiceover and cut production costs to almost nothing. It's wild that it works, and the fact that it works so well is even more insane. If D2C advertising is going to be a game of volume, its winner will be the advertisers who use AI to help them find ads that convert. And then just some stats as far as like increasing spend on Meta and also other platforms. Almost 72% of advertisers said that they plan to increase their ad spend on Meta, and almost 70% said that they plan to increase spend on TikTok, Pinterest, Snapchat, and YouTube in 2025. So very few are saying that they're planning to decrease spend across the board. So what they're seeing, number one, advertisers are using AI to get strategic clarity. Barry Hott explains how AI allows for rapid testing and iteration. You can test ideas with AI generated assets before committing to full production with real creators, he says. AI is becoming a low cost way for advertisers to test ideas before doubling down on winners with humans. Which, even though I haven't been doing AI UGC, I know exactly what he's saying, because what I will do as someone that's working with brands in a fractional creative strategy role is a lot of the times I'll be the guinea pig where I'm like, okay, I want to test this new idea that hasn't been tested before, but I also want to be conscious of the fact that we only have so much budget for this quarter or this year. So I'm going to use myself as the creator. I'm going to write the script, I'm going to film it, I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to put it out into the wild. And depending on how it does, it will dictate how much I double down on this educated guess and or hypothesis. And then number 2, AI avatars are building a slow and skeptical following. Despite AI's growing presence in our daily lives, 65% of D2C advertisers we surveyed stated that they have no plans to use AI-generated avatars in ads, aka AI UGC creators. However, with Sora being integrated into consumer AI tools, this might start to change in the coming years as AI video becomes smarter and more believable. Again, it's inevitable. It is going to become a thing. When it becomes a thing is so unclear, just because, again, like the amount of video editing AI tools that everyone's been talking about. Guys, coming from a professional direct response video editor, I can confidently say your job is not going to be taken away as a video editor, as a strategist, and as a UGC creator. And then number 3, advertisers are looking beyond Meta for growth. 69% of D2C advertisers we surveyed also plan to increase spend across other platforms, which I think is super important because you want to diversify your income. You don't want to be reliant on just Meta. The demand for wide and scalable ad production has never been greater because we plan to hit all of these platforms as compared to putting all of our eggs in one basket. How this impacts ad creative. AI tools have given creative strategists more agency and expanded creative possibilities at brands that previously may not have had the budgets to compete. However, that success lies in balance, leveraging the AI capabilities without losing sight of what resonates emotionally with audiences. Again, we're finding that balance. The brands that win in 2025 will be those that seamlessly blend AI-driven efficiency with rigorous storytelling. As Barry Hott put it, the challenge isn't the technology, it's marketers themselves. Those who embrace AI while staying authentic are going to dominate. Put the trend in action. Test ideas fast, fail even faster. AI tools are perfect for throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. Experiment with AI-generated videos, scripts, or visuals to test creative concepts on a small budget. Once you find a winner, double down with polished, human-made assets that feel crafted and intentional. The great thing about this community of UGC creators that are now starting to become creative strategists, you already have the hard skill sets that a lot of traditional marketers do not have. A lot of marketers in the space don't feel comfortable filming themselves, maybe don't even know the best practices of filming themselves, maybe aren't even able to show up confidently on camera and or edit their content. But what's great as former UGC creators, current UGC creators now becoming creative strategists is you can be the guinea pig, which is a huge value add to your clients because what's better than an AI generated video? A human video, but keeping costs low because you are the guinea pig. AI ads to optimize content. Use AI tools to quickly resize, reformat, and tweak your visuals or scripts, ensuring your ads match each platform's tone and style of different networks while maintaining the cohesiveness of your original content. I talked about some of the AI tools that I use on a regular basis as that UGC creator, and I can tell you right now their capabilities are going to help streamline your workflow as that UGC creator and creative strategist. Make AI part of your team, not the whole team. It's important to keep in mind that you want to make AI part of your team, but not the whole team. It's about using the tech to make your team more effective and efficient and not replacing the human touch that makes great ads resonate. Education advantage. People today have unparalleled access to information, yet skepticism thrives. This is particularly true on social media, where trust in traditional institutions is scarce. Consumers have a lot of choice, so it's easy for them to favor products, particularly in the health and beauty categories that are packed with expert guidance and credible founders. For marketers, this trust advantage isn't just an opportunity, it is a mandate. But expertise doesn't lend itself easily to bite-sized content, and the algorithms drive today's attention economy, reward brevity. However, against the odds, long-form content is getting increasing amounts of spend. I've been saying this since UGC went mainstream and I started posting online. If you ever hear someone, a creator coach especially, say, you have to have your UGC videos under 30 seconds or else it's not going to work. You need a video that can't be more than a minute or else it's not going to work. Everyone's attention span is so short these days. Blah, 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 blah. That's not true. That is not true. I've had a client in the past have a top performing ad that was 15 minutes long. 15 minutes long. Also, when I worked internally at 310, the majority of our ads that were winners were over 2 minutes long because they were the sit-down testimonial style videos that we had for 310 Day when we were flying customers out and doing in-person interviews. It's just important to remember that D2C ads are getting longer and they are getting more effective. So Gil says, we're seeing a trend where some ads are starting to introduce the product much later, like after 40 or even 50 seconds, focusing instead on education upfront. This wasn't something we saw a year ago, which is interesting because like what Gil's referencing is like across the board, whereas for me, in my career experience, I have definitely seen this trend taking place. In 2025, more brands will be leaning into longer education-based content and converting skepticism into loyalty, creating campaigns that work harder to resonate with an increasingly skeptical audience. What they're seeing. So when it comes to people turning to social platforms for more than just entertainment, platforms like Instagram and YouTube have become hubs of educational content, with users increasingly expecting ads that inform as well as entertain. So again, edutainment. It's educational, but it's also entertaining. Number 2, telling stories and going long with your advertising converts. Someone else explains long-form content like VSLs, which are video sales letters, and podcast ads bring this third voice, the expert voice. Sometimes a person is an expert just because they have lived and they are sharing their story. And number 3, introducing the product later isn't impacting spend as much as advertisers think. Traditional direct response introduces the products early in ads, but consider testing a slower burn, building with more educational content up front. This makes your ad feel more native to the social channels and disarms people, as immediate product plugs can activate our ad radars, meaning if I see it's an ad, maybe I'm turned off and I keep scrolling. Some people claim this, like thought leaders on LinkedIn are like, I don't want to know it's an ad, you gotta trick me in order for me to watch it. But I don't know if it's because I'm a marketer or what, but like ultimately if it's entertaining and educating, like I'm gonna watch it, even if you show the product up front in the first 2 seconds. How this impacts ad creative. This year, we're going to see D2C advertisers double down on formats like podcast ads that worked really well in 2024 and also even before that. When I was working internally at a brand that was spending $2 million a month on Meta alone, one of the top performing concept types that we leaned heavily into were podcast style ads. And it makes a lot of sense because those podcast ads, the main focus was education, but we wanted to keep it entertaining for them. So podcast ads, VSLs, video sales letters, extended video formats, and expert-led storytelling aren't just tools. They're must-haves for brands trying to cut through the noise in a market full of skeptics. The playbook is simple. Teach something useful and take the time to get it right. Put the trend in action. Put your team in the spotlight. Feature employees in expert-driven content to build trust. Turn your product managers into thought leaders, like with LinkedIn posts, or have your engineers explain complex processes in Reels and YouTube Shorts. This is something that works super well for brands that have super complicated products that require education to the 10th degree. I want to say it was Athletic Greens or some sort of health-based product, and they had their legitimate like formula scientist in a white studio talking about everything that goes into this product and why it is what it is. And specifically, I want to say the concept revolved around price point. And it's like this person who is the food scientist being like, you don't understand how high quality these products are and what they can do for you. Also, when I was working with a mushroom coffee brand in Q4, I would literally film concepts in the warehouse and introduce myself as an employee, and those ads would do really well. This is a mouthful. Experiment with platform native, long form formats. Woo! Leverage YouTube for product breakdowns or how-to guides, or use Reels to create a multi-part explainer series. These formats work because they feel natural to the platform while delivering more depth than a typical ad. Partner with trusted voices. Collaborate with creators or podcast hosts who are already seen as authorities in your niche. By aligning your brand with someone your audience already trusts, you amplify credibility while delivering educational, engaging content. One of my previous clients, which is a men's supplement brand, they were spending around $3 million a month, and what I was doing was I was hiring doctors, personal trainers, anyone that had a form of credibility to then be like, I give my stamp of approval on this product, and also here is the science behind it. And maybe you might think, well, it might depend on the vertical the product's in, because I don't think I'll be able to find an expert in so-and-so field. If it's a makeup brand, you can literally hire a professional makeup artist. If it's a skincare brand, you can hire an esthetician and a dermatologist. If it's a sunscreen brand and you want to talk about how eco-friendly it is, you can hire someone who is in the field of science that can specifically speak to those value props. If it's a product like, I don't know, it can like unclog a toilet, there is a professional out there that can give their stamp of approval and be like, I've been in the industry for 20 years and I've never seen a product unclog a toilet faster than this product. Nostalgia frontier. Nostalgia has always been a powerful tool in marketing, and it's widely known by marketers that nostalgia evokes emotions tied to the past and drives consumer loyalty. Historically, though, it's been the exclusive domain of legacy brands, so companies with decades of history to draw upon. So think like Coca-Cola's classic holiday campaigns or Levi's timeless denim storytelling. In 2025, that is set to change. Many direct-to-consumer brands are maturing. The first wave of D2C brands like Casper, Bonobos, and Everlane have been around for more than a decade. To put this into perspective, many D2C brands are approaching the average 18-year company lifespan of many so-called legacy businesses on the S&P 500, a lifespan that's been in steady decline since 1958. So what does this mean? There can be a new take on retro aesthetics. While D2C brands and legacy businesses approach a generational convergence point, D2C advertisers are finding themselves more and more comfortable tapping into a marketing motif historically reserved for only the most mature businesses. In 2024, Poppy became the first D2C brand to reach the advertising holy grail. They launched a Super Bowl commercial riddled with vibrant references to Y2K and beyond. The 60-second spot became the most watched ad of the game, reaching 29.1 million households. The ad sparked a 100 times increase in search volume within an hour of airing, with Amazon sales and website traffic surging 10 times. And they also saw these effects on social, where Poppy saw a 250% boost in Instagram engagement and a 70% increase in TikTok followers. In 2025, we can expect D2C advertisers now entrenched in their markets to follow suit by leaning into marketing strategies and media placements once reserved for the very legacy competitors they have successfully disrupted. So what we're seeing: 1, the emergence of nostalgia communities. Nostalgia communities are thriving on Reddit and TikTok, where users obsessively share and remix cultural touchstones from Y2K fashion, 90s Nickelodeon vibes, or early internet aesthetics. For marketers, these communities are goldmines of cultural relevance. 2, emotional connections drive sales. According to a recent report, nostalgia marketing creates strong emotional bonds that go beyond product features, making consumers more likely to engage with a brand. This strategy resonates with a broad audience by tapping into shared memories of different age groups. The rise of earned nostalgia. Brands are reviving past products or campaigns to evoke nostalgia, effectively reconnecting with consumers. For instance, food chains like McDonald's and Taco Bell have reintroduced popular items from the past, leveraging nostalgia to drive sales and attract older and newer generations. How this impacts ad creative. In 2025, nostalgia will no longer be just a design choice. It will be a strategic tool for building emotional connections. For maturing D2C brands, this is a chance to grow up without losing their edge, drawing from cultural touch points that feel relevant to their audiences while crafting narratives that resonate across generations. Nostalgia-driven campaigns that succeed will focus on reimagining the past rather than simply recycling it. This means blending retro aesthetics and modern sensibilities and aligning timeless values with today's shifting cultural context. How to put the trend in action. Reimagine, don't recycle. Don't just copy the past, reinterpret it into a new way that feels fresh. A D2C home goods brand might use 70s inspired design, but modernize the messaging to align with sustainability or wellness trends. Think about the emotions behind the nostalgia and build campaigns that feel like a fresh take on those sentiments rather than a direct reproduction, which I love. It reminds me of stealing like an artist. You don't want to just like literally take something and verbatim copy and paste it. You want to take it, put your spin on it, and then put it out into the world and see what people think about it. You also want to tap into cultural moments. Pair campaigns with nostalgia-driven media resurgences, like a product tie-in with a rebooted TV show or movie. These cultural anchors give audiences an immediate emotional connection to your brand. Another great way to tap into this, I don't know if they talk about this, but hiring old famous celebrities who are nostalgic and really aren't that big anymore and are probably not that expensive to work with. That said, this is coming from someone that has been able to manage a multi-six-figure budget on any given quarter. Experiment with platforms. TikTok and Instagram are perfect for retro-inspired short-form content, while YouTube lends itself to deeper dives into nostalgic storytelling. These platforms allow brands to match the tone and style of their campaigns to the audience preferred way of engaging, amplifying the emotional impact of the message. So it does make a lot of sense that like if it's a reel, it is going to be shorter as compared to a 16:9 YouTube ad is going to be longer. Because when we think of the environment, a reel is brief, whereas a YouTube video, someone who is going to that platform, they are planning to watch long form content. The lo-fi squeeze. Everyone in D2C advertising knows lo-fi works. It is foundational. Most brands in D2C were built on scrappy content that blends seamlessly with organic social feeds. 42% of top spending ads in our analysis of $100 million in ad spend were classified as lo-fi production. For example, shot on an iPhone with minimal editing and post-production polish. Proving what we already know, that you don't need a massive production budget to drive results. And as someone that's been creating UGC since literally 2014 for brands, I can confidently say that they are right on the money. I mean, even when I think back to the scrappier days of UGC when I was working at Mute 6, or even when I was freelancing back in 2020, the content that I was creating as a UGC creator, that I was strategizing as a creative strategist, and that I was editing as a direct response video editor, they were all lo-fi ads. A fraction of the cost of what a traditional commercial would cost, yet still were able to offer incredible returns. An example I love to give is I worked with a brand between 2020 and 2023. In 2021, I really doubled down on UGC for them. I was the one that was leading all creative direction, all creative strategy. I was coming up with the concept ideas, I was writing the script, I was filming, and I was editing it. In 2021, the top 18 ads out of 20 were all of mine. They received the bulk of the ad spend for that year, 85%. I have these numbers memorized because I love sharing this because it is just a true testament to how powerful lo-fi ads are. It received almost $13 million in ad spend, those top 18 out of 20 ads, which was 85% of the ad spend for that year, and offered a return on ad spend that equated to over $50 million in revenue. All of which were filmed in my 250 square foot Culver City studio, a literal shoebox, and had not been renovated since I swear to God the 70s. All that goes to say, ugly ads go mainstream, or have been mainstream. It isn't just D2C startups embracing lo-fi. While 53% of the advertisers we surveyed say they plan to invest even more into lo-fi advertising in 2025, legacy advertisers and brick and mortar businesses have also discovered that lo-fi works. I love to see the legacy advertisers, brick and mortar businesses, ones who have just been in the space for so damn long, make that shift from just investing into commercials into what are scrappy UGC ads. The downfall is the result has been even more creative fatigue, and for advertisers, an even harder time of standing out. According to a recent report, 59% of consumers think there is too much advertising on social media. The director of paid media creative at Hexclad said, social advertising used to be the Wild West. It really did. It makes me think of Mute 6 back in 2018, 2019. Now that I think about it, I described this space as the Wild West back in 2017, 2018. That is too funny. And she says, now we have 1 million brands on the internet, including legacy brands. How are you supposed to show that you're not just a flash in the pan? No pun intended, Hexclad. In 2025, the challenge for D2C advertisers will not be creating lo-fi content. It'll be doubling down on the kind of lo-fi content that helps them differentiate themselves. So what's working right now? Escapism sells. Consumers are seeking relief from the influx of information on social media. Wallace observes there's also a lot of doom scrolling right now. When there's so much happening, people look for relief. For advertisers, this means leaning into content that feels like an antidote to the chaos. Think of things that are pleasing to your senses, satisfying colors, sound textures instead of super loud music or just boring voiceovers, and slow camera movements instead of jacked up video effects. Absurdity reduces cognitive load. The Oxford English Dictionary just named brain rot their word of the year. For advertisers, embracing brain rot content, such as short form formats with absurd humor and visuals, Reduce cognitive load. Brain rot ads serve as scroll-friendly palate cleansers, giving audiences a mental break and quick dopamine hits. And number 3, advertisers are learning from their customers. Barry Hott says, go watch what your audience is watching and make shit that looks like it. That's it. Game over. You want to create ads that feel native to the environment that your target customer is experiencing. Spend more time soaking up organic trends on TikTok to enhance your lo-fi visual and auditory vocabulary. How this impacts ad creative. In 2025, the best performing ads are going to lean into emotional resonance, whether through escapism, absurd humor, or relatable storytelling. Mimicking the tone and style of the content your audience already loves is key, as is experimenting with unexpected, simple formats that cut through the noise. With ad lifespans shrinking to just days, brands must test and iterate faster than ever, focusing on clear, impactful messaging that delivers quick emotional payoffs. Lo-fi isn't just about scrappiness anymore. It's about matching your content to the mind states of consumers as they consume it. Put the trend in action. Shoot fast, publish faster. Use smartphones to create raw, unfiltered content for platforms like TikTok or Instagram. Don't waste your time with over-editing and production polish. Instead, focus on getting a few things right: lighting, mood, and sound, which we know as UGC creators. Simplify with satisfying content. Test low cognitive load formats like quick tutorials, visually satisfying product demos, or ASMR-inspired clips. Think about what will stop the scroll and provide a moment of intrigue or relaxation for your audience. Use social listening to guide creative. Tap into conversations, trends, and content your audience is already engaging with organically. Use these insights to create ads that align with the interests and behaviors of your audience. I see a parallel to this to the Pinterest Trends Report of 2025. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to Google, look up Pinterest Trend Report 2025. You're welcome. The bleeding creative edge. Putting a copywriter and a designer in the same room is no longer the recipe for an exceptional ad. In 2025, the structure of creative teams is poised for transformation as D2C brands embrace a new wave of talent and operational models. First, you need to hire a creative strategist. How the best of the best brands are building teams for the future. Elite teams are going even further. Some are creating a new type of role that Meta's creative shop calls platform native directors. These are essentially creators embedded within growth teams who specialize in crafting culturally fluent, fast turnaround content, aka user-generated content. As Gil, a creative strategist at Meta, explains, platform native directors are not just creators, they are masters of the culture of our platforms. They are the most fluent speakers of the social media language. They excel at ideating, shooting, and editing content entirely on smartphones, allowing brands to generate platform native ads that resonate online. Meanwhile, creative strategists build tighter integration between media and creative functions. So think of creative strategists as the glue between paid media managers, head of marketing, etc., to the creative department, which is like video editors, designers, copywriters, etc. Having a creative strategist enables brands to iterate faster and produce ads that consistently perform. Gil says, we are seeing some of the fastest growing companies uniting these functions, media buyers and creatives operating with the same KPIs and even performance-based compensation. I like to say the more analytical you are as a creative, the better off you'll be, because your clients are going to end up making more money because of the strategies you implement. Therefore, you'll have more negotiation power as that UGC creator or creative strategist. What Motion is seeing. Creative fatigue is accelerating. Every ad has a shelf life, and in present day, January 2025, this couldn't be more true. Gil says ads die faster due to creative fatigue. This is driving demand for high velocity creative production, with top advertisers producing 50 to 70 plus ads per week. I said the plus because, again, I've worked with brands that were putting out hundreds and thousands of ads every week and every month. Number 2, native directors are growth engines. These creators are no longer just contributors, but key drivers of growth, which I love to see, because back in like 2017, 2018, paid media managers were like the top dog. They were the king, and creative was really what felt like hired help, and we always got the shit end of the stick. Fast forward to present day, and creative is king. 62% of D2C brands in our latest survey identified working with creators and influencers as a core growth engine. And that's also why agencies and direct-to-consumer brands are hiring UGC pros, UGC Studio, where we are sourcing creators who understand how to show up on camera authentically, create content that fits the native platform that it's being run on, while also still being direct response conversion driven. And then number 3, in-house expertise meets agency creativity. Many brands are building in-house creator studios while continuing to work with agencies to diversify their creative output, which I highly agree with and recommend as a creative strategist, is to not only build your own roster, but also to consider collaborating with other agencies to again diversify your creative output. Gil says, we are seeing more brands taking creative in-house, but still relying on agencies for fresh perspectives. When you work closely with a brand, it can kind of feel like an echo chamber, which is exactly why I love to collaborate with other freelancers and agencies to give us a fresh perspective. How this impacts creative. In 2025, the ability to deliver platform native content at speed will define success for D2C brands. Platform native directors enable brands to cut production costs while maintaining cultural fluency, creating content that blends seamlessly into social feeds. Meanwhile, there is a tighter collaboration between creative and media teams, ensuring every ad is designed with performance in mind. Brands will also need to adapt to shorter creative lifespans, using agile systems to produce content rapidly without sacrificing diversity or quality. As creative fatigue intensifies, the brands that innovate their team structures will be best positioned to thrive. How to put the trend in action. 1. Hire a creative strategist. That's exactly why we came out with our creative strategy video course and our masterclass, half of which is dedicated to creative strategy and the other half is dedicated to digital marketing from the paid media and CMO perspective. Creative strategists are changing the fortunes of top agencies, turning brands into household names and managing billions of dollars in ad spend. Hiring one is the first step towards building a high-functioning performance marketing team. This is exactly what I was able to do for my clients. Dating back to 2017 to present day, I've been able to generate over $500 million in revenue for those clients. And even though the role creative strategist really wasn't normalized until 2020 and onward, for my entire career, I always made it a point to show up equally analytical as I was creative, and I noticed brands and agencies really appreciated this. So the more analytical and strategy driven you can be as a creative, the better off your clients will be, which in return means that you will be better off. Hire or upskill platform native directors within your team. Their expertise in culturally fluent, cost-effective ad creation will allow your brand to respond quickly to trends on different platforms. And third, pilot high volume production days. Organize sprint style ad creation days like the Real Villa initiative led by the Meta Creative Shop team, a brand creator run creative house. As Gil describes, this helps you disrupt traditional production models. In one day, brands and creators can produce 30 to 40 ads, ensuring both volume and diversity with high velocity. This is something that I've been practicing for years with the creative departments that I've been leading. Being able to block off an entire day once every few weeks or every few months really opens up the opportunity for ensuring, again, both volume and diversity with high velocity. Who knows? Maybe next year you guys will see my name on this deck. And if you aren't already using Motion with your clients, I highly recommend you book a demo and recommend it to your point of contact, because Motion is the best way to be able to close the performance feedback loop and work collaboratively with the paid media team and creative department. If you found this video helpful, please engage with it. Comment if you have any follow-up questions or maybe future video ideas that you want to see more of. Also, if you aren't already subscribed, be sure to do so, and also turn on post notifications. I post every single Monday around 9 a.m. PST. And of course, if you like this video, this was actually a bonus lesson in our 10-hour masterclass led by myself and Lamise Barnett, MBA. So if you're interested in learning more about that, check the link in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about our other video courses, our 9-hour crash course in UGC, aka our UGC University, and our 4-hour Intro to Creative Strategy video course, they are also linked below. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.